Khalyla. Shop the Skims Soft Lounge collection at skims.com. Now available in sizes XXX to 4X.
That's what I love about Skims. You don't have to give up looking sexy to feel comfortable.
Be sure to let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show, Trash Tuesday, in the drop-down menu that follows. Hi, slugs. Welcome back. We're so excited. Today in studio with me and Koloko is our friend. She's an actress. She's an activist. And you may know her from the past 10 years of AT&T commercials. Please welcome Milana Vayntrub. Hi.
The audience is insane.
The crowd is going wild for you. It's really overwhelming. Thank you for coming today.
My pleasure.
It's so lovely to see you.
No, it's been so long.
I know. How are you? Like, you're a mom, you're a director.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
I feel like the last time I saw you, and this could be wrong, was at Little Dom's. I was having lunch with Angela Trimber. You walked past and you're like, Angela taught me to put foundation in my sunscreen and my life has never been the same.
that sounds right.
Yeah.
She did teach me to mix foundation with sunscreen, and that really actually was a game changer.
Kind of like ahead of the times because now they have the tinted sunscreens, right?
Right. But yeah,
you're a trailblazer. Well, Angela
always have
is.
been. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm a trailblazer of doing what people who are prettier than me are doing.
Right. You like to announce the trailblazing.
Yes. I'll collect the information, pile it up.
You are actually the trail ablaze. Someone else is blazing it.
Yes.
But you are the path that
I'm just laying there.
Yeah.
Walk all over me, hot girls. Wait, yeah, no, I vaguely do remember that. Yeah, so what's
up?
I know.
So much is up. I don't know. Life is wild. I'm no longer doing the AT&T commercials.
Really?
That's been a kind of a chapter end. I think 10 years is like a nice benchmark. I'm grateful. You seem really disturbed by this.
No, I just had no idea. Because in my head, like that, that's...
Yeah, I feel like you're just sort of like the image in my head of AT&T, like forever, whether... I don't know. You're right. Yeah.
Which I'm sure you hear that all the time. And does that bother you? Where are you at with it?
I don't know. It doesn't bother me because I feel like that was good for that job. Like it was helpful for that brand for when they showed my face for people to be like, I know what this is an ad for. This is memorable because it includes this recognizable face, this particular face. But I also feel like I am adaptable and I can change the way I look, and I'm often like unrecognizable in other things, which is a weird skill. Like, and also people are like confused. I think particularly men, like you change your hair and they're like, do I know you?
Yeah, right.
No, right. Change your shirt and they're like, what commercial?
Wait, can I just tell you? Okay, so when I was in high school, I did this play in Scotland. It's this long,
Scotland?
It's not worth getting into the details, the fine print.
You traveled?
That's right. But listen, I swear this is going somewhere. I'm not just trying to flex on my high school
play. I just
play.
didn't realize you were a traveler.
I'm not. This is a one-off. Okay, and in the play, it was a play that my theater teacher wrote. So you know it was good. And there was no words, but everyone played like an archetype of a type of person. And
I need you to pause. Somebody wrote something without words in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So like a live music video. Like a stage.
There was some music.
Collage.
Everyone had
a stage collage.
The point is I had no lines, but...
Well, did anyone?
No.
Okay.
So
it's not an insult.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
If you flew to Scotland to be a tree, that'd be, you know what I mean?
Well, essentially I did. Okay, but so one of the archetypes that I got to play in the traveling version, not even in the like local version, but in the traveling version, I was the blonde bombshell, which I'm sure you know, that was like everything to me. I was so excited. And I got to wear this blonde Marilyn Monroe wig and like, cinched waist dress, whatever. And after the show, there was this really cute guy. And we were all, like, me and some of the other actors were talking to him. And he was like, who is that blonde girl? Like, I want to meet her. And I'm like, oh my God, that was me. And he's like, oh. And he was so disappointed.
Oh,
And it was such a core memory of just a guy totally not caring about you, and me realizing, or just like reinforcing that when you have brown hair, you're ugly. Like, did you ever feel that? If you're not blonde, you're not pretty?
I never felt a draw towards being blonde.
Okay.
I
you
honestly
love your blondies though. You love Anna Nicole. You like Marilyn.
I do.
You have a really big, you're magnetized to blondes.
I could also see how blonde would look better on you than it does on me. I could see you looking great as a blonde.
I feel like you're trying to turn this into like a compliment on me. Just,
have we tried?
I would never.
Have I tried being blonde?
Yeah. I mean, I know I've seen the wigs.
Oh, just like little highlights here and there. I love dark hair now. I think because I was so rejecting of it when I was younger. Now I'm like, no, it's actually amazing. Thank you, Kim Kardashian, for being beautiful with dark hair. Anyways, I just wanted to confirm with you that men are so dumb about hair color.
Yeah, hair color. Honestly, shirt. Honestly, different setting. When I do stand up, there have been times where I've talked about being the girl from the AT&T commercials, and they're like, it doesn't click.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not worried about it. Just to say, in terms of like
either.
being associated with that, I think it was a great gift, and I'm really grateful that it happened. And I'm very curious about everything that's coming up.
That's so cool. Wait, so now where are you shifting your focus? More directing? I saw you were doing a podcast about moms.
Yes. I'm doing a podcast called Your Mom is a Podcast, where we basically interview people that we find fascinating and their moms to figure out how they got that way.
I love that.
Yeah, because like a lot of the times you meet someone and you're like, wow, it would be amazing if my kid turned out like you. Or I would be so proud of my kid if they had this quality or that quality. And now that you have a kid, like it takes up 90% of my mind, and it is so much of my identity. I recently read this book called Machiavelli for Women. And one of the things it talked about, and I think is really true, is that it hurts women to talk about children in the workplace. Because there's an assumption that you are splitting time, that you're unavailable, that you're deprioritizing work, whatever the assumption is. But when men talk about having children, it's like, oh, what a hero. He left work early to pick up his kids. Right. How charming. And if she leaves work early to pick up her kids, she doesn't care about the job. So, and I do think that we don't work in a very feminist industry, unfortunately. I think, more women in positions of power is changing that. Thank you thank you all of you for being women in positions of power to hire other people. But it is, so it takes up so much of my mental space. Very hard to not talk about all the time. And so interesting to me that I started this podcast with my friend Sandeep, and it's been really cool. It's been a real gift to our guests, because we're like, hey, you want to like have a beautiful moment with your mom and you get to like know your mom in a way that you haven't, because how often do you get to like have that facilitated moment?
Are you do you have guests on with difficult relationships with their mom and still ongoing?
Khalyla's asking if she can come on.
That's really interesting.
Or are you finding, because I mean, it is almost like, I have such deep envy for sweet childhoods.
Yes.
And people talking about their mothers in a way that felt safe for them. And I never got that. Like, not a moment in my life did my childhood ever feel like it belonged to me or that I was ever safe. And so when I hear people talk lovingly about, just being around like this sturdy, loving mom, I'm like, oh, fuck, like they probably are such well-balanced adults.
How old was your mom when she had you?
She was 23, 22.
Yeah, I think about that. My mom was really young when she had me too.
Baby, right?
And I'm like, could you imagine? And then also being an immigrant. My mother is an immigrant too.
Right, you were Soviet Union.
Yes, I was born in Uzbekistan. Yeah. And then my mom moved here when I was 2. And my son is 3 now. And I think about moving to a new place.
Right.
Not speaking the language. Having a really unsteady, sorry, Dad, but like really shitty relationship with my dad. So we moved here when I was 2, and then when I was about 5, my dad was like delivering donuts and being a plumber and like doing the jobs that people who don't speak English well do. Because one of the things that's really true and really heartbreaking, but I think is important to remember about anyone who doesn't speak the language is it's really hard to see how smart, funny, or charming they are.
Right.
It just will not be communicated. And I speak Russian pretty fluently, but I'm sure I sound like a dumbass to people who speak Russian, who live in that culture. So that was really hard on him. Couldn't really get financial footing. And so he had the opportunity to go back to the former Soviet Union, but to go back to Uzbekistan and start a business and all these things. So he was traveling my whole life. He's been gone. And I have an opportunity coming up where I'm going to have to leave town for almost a month to work on a project. And I'm like, how did he do that? How did he regularly leave us? And I imagine that he just had to put up so many emotional walls because I don't believe he didn't give a shit about us. I believe he had to redirect his thinking to be like, I'm focusing on this money so that I can, that's what I at least believed growing up is like, he's out there because he loves us and he needs to make money so that we can live.
Right.
I had to say that to myself as a child. And I did believe that. I'm not sure if that's true, but there's still like maybe an anger or resentment just about how often and seemingly easy it was for dads to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I am coming at this from such a different angle than you guys. Like, so becoming a mom, it does really, it's almost like this bomb goes off and like, it doesn't even need to be as negative as it sounds.
It's a bomb of glitter.
Yes. It's just like, whoa, everything has been shaken up and is being rearranged and coming up. And one of the things that like a big shift for me is one, I'm really hard on myself, which I feel like I'm like, was I ever hard on myself? Did I ever feel guilt or shame before? Like, I have no idea.
Super common.
Now I really do. But I find myself thinking back on, oh my God, my mom was such an amazing mom and I haven't given her any of the credit.
I have that too.
That she has deserved. And then also building on the like, I'm hard on myself. It's like, oh, I'll never be what she was. Like, here's how I'm lacking in comparison to her. And that's like a really difficult thing that I'm like grappling with.
I'm not a parent and I already know I could never live up to what my mom had to go through.
Wow.
I mean, just the fact that she, like you said, I mean, being an immigrant, English is not her first language, being married to someone who was like 3 decades older than her, coming from abject poverty. But also she would say things like stroller, like baby carrier. She's like, what are those? She had my sister on her hip and me in her belly and just kind of like did motherhood in a very like white knuckle way. And so I already know I could never like live up to the way she was such like she made motherhood like a full-blown sport that she would not fail at. But then that's what happened. She helicoptered, right? Then she went a little too hard into motherhood and she could have pumped the brakes a little bit.
It's a really hard line to know how to walk because you have to have some kind of control. You're the person setting all the boundaries and creating the reality for this new person.
Right.
And also you have to make sure to not say careful.
Oh my God. Yeah.
All the fucking time.
I do that with my dogs already. So I'm really nervous about being just a parent in general. Cause like my everything, like I'm always 2 steps ahead. I'm always saying, I don't want to be that. Are you that?
She doesn't even roll yet. So
that's
it's
right.
Like,
I didn't take her to ballet.
But I do with Dave. I definitely am like, be careful with, like
don't die.
Yeah. Or like just what he's doing with her or like even when he's like a little too rough with Donut, I'll have to pull him aside and be like, look, some people can roughhouse with their dogs. Donut is 7 pounds. We can't do that. Like, she's gentle.
Do you guys have to fight the urge to tell your spouse how to do things with baby? Or do you just let go and...
No, there is no letting go of anything. I've never let go of anything. And I don't think I've had a single thought that I haven't told him. Like, there's no holding back. Because I think part of the reality is the birthing parent has mother's intuition, has an intuition.
I didn't believe that. And now I'm like, no, it's there. Like, I can literally just check in. Like, it's not, for me, I have to like go, okay, where is it? What is it? And then I'm like, okay, tonight we're not doing a swaddle anymore. Like, I don't know. It's really there.
It's really there. The father does not have that mother's intuition. And so they need to read the books and they need to listen to the mom. Like, it just is the way it is. I'm also using mom interchangeably. Like, but I do think that they not only have to be told what to do, they have to be, and I'm saying this, I need you to hear me. And then if there are any of you still out there, you have to let the person who gave birth tell you what the fuck to do. And you have to say, thanks, I didn't know that. It's so helpful. I gotta wipe this way. Thanks, I didn't know that. Oh, I have to not put the baby in the blazing sun. Thanks, I didn't know that. I have to clean this bottle this way. Thanks, I didn't know that. What are you helpful? How many words? Thanks, I didn't know that. 5 words will make the newborn stage so much healthier for relationships. It's so hard on a relationship, the newborn stage, because now you are co-producing the highest stakes project of your life.
Yes.
And you're both exhausted. One of you has just come out of basically major surgery, if not exactly major surgery. And you have to cooperate in ways that you're dependent on each other in a way you've never had to be dependent on each other before.
I know. Part of me, because I'm such a like lonely person forever, like that that like newfound bond of like this is all hands on deck all the time.
Yes.
Like, I romanticize that so much. Like, it was so fun. But I will say that on the mother's intuition thing, like, no one is allowed to decide the temperature of her bathwater but me.
Yes.
Like, no one will know exactly the right temperature except for me. And I don't trust anyone else with that.
My cousin who has 2 kids, she's like a little bit younger than me, but she feels like a big sister because she's just so wise and has done this ahead of me. My son was really little. We were at her place. All of like the aunts and grandmas there. My family is just like all women. They're like, most of the men have bounced. So it's just like every girl has 2 girls and every girl has 2 girls. It's a lot. But something was going on. Somebody was maybe trying to feed my son something. I don't remember what the situation was. But she goes, she's the mom. Like, nobody else here, none of the aunts and none of the grandmas, nobody else who's been a mom gets to say what happens with this baby. She's the mom.
I love that.
And yes. And that's also so comforting for me to even hear when I'm by myself, when I feel the pressure to like, oh, well, we should really go to, no, I'm the mom. Like, I decide what we get to do. Oh, you think that this is how my baby should, and fill in the blank. I'm the mom.
Yeah.
And that is really such a powerful way to see, like, that's a new way for me to see myself. You know, asking for permission, asking for acceptance, asking to be liked is such a huge part of being a woman, but definitely a huge part of my personality. And being in charge of this person, you know, and again, walking that line of like, where am I flexible? Of course, allowing him to be himself. But the confidence of, there's a reality where I know what's best for him.
Right.
Intuitively, it's such a confidence builder for me.
Oh my God, wait, I haven't thought of it like that. I love hearing that. It is confidence building. And also I heard a friend say, like, you're your kid's best mom.
Yes.
Because it's hard to be like, I didn't do this like this person and I'm not doing a good job because of this. But it's like, no, I'm her best mom. It's me. I'm the best mom for her. So that has been really like a helpful, you know, I don't know, mantra.
Yes.
I love that I heard you say like it did shift your identity. It is all you're interested in, because that's definitely that's what's happening for me. And I'm like, oh, am I crazy? But because we had talked before I had the baby, like about, you know, when becoming a mom, like you don't want that to be your whole personality. But now I'm like, I can't control myself. It just is.
And maybe that's temporary.
Yeah.
Like, I think my son is now 3, and I think I'm a little bit more, maybe in the past 6 months or a year, I have felt more like the person I used to be as he's become more independent, and I feel better about leaving him with people, because I could always leave him with somebody, but the guilt was real because I knew that what he needed most was me. And I'm like, how am I robbing him from the thing he needs most? You know, that's all the guilt talk. But also, I think what a child needs most is a happy, thriving mother. And if that you think your mom being that way made you awesome.
In terms of just having like an overall tough childhood, or
like what qualities of hers helped make you awesome, whether it's like you're leaning towards or leaning away?
So I love how Dr. Drew puts it, where it's like I'm able to frame my trauma in a way that's both an asset and a liability. And I can carry those two truths together, where it's like, okay, these are the things that happened, but good things did sprout from that.
Yes.
And I do think that I'm able to be, I'm very empathetic. I read people's cues a lot.
That's a huge quality of a traumatic childhood. You ever play Mafia?
I've never played Mafia.
It's a game where you can, like, one person in the room is like the murderer and you have to guess who it is. I am a monster at that game.
Really?
I am not good at being the murderer. I'm not good at being the mafia. But if someone is acting a little weird, I'm like, oh, it's you. Because of walking on eggshells.
Right.
Because of our ability to be like, oh, am I going to get hit right now?
Right. So I later learned that being an empath, it was sort of like a survival mechanism, because you'd have to read, like, for instance, my mother's cues. Like, she would switch up so fast and you didn't know what the implications were for yourself. Would you get your ass beat? Would you be in a bad mood? So that eggshell lifestyle keeps you very alert.
Yes.
So it's both a good thing that I have, like, I can read my surroundings really fast and people really fast. Yeah. But also I become like an overtly people pleaser. Yeah. Because I've had to please my mom. And
wait, why was I gestured at?
Because you're my goals, remember?
Right. We have like an interesting dynamic where I get stressed that she's just trying to people please, where I'm not.
She can't read me. She can't. She doesn't know if I'm saying yes because I genuinely want to do it, or if I'm doing it because I can't say no.
And I don't want someone to say yes to me if they don't want to. That's like my nightmare.
Yes. And the reason I love Esther is because it's never a guessing game. No is no. Yes is a genuine yes. And I do envy like having that kind of superpower. Like it's never a guessing game.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I feel there's more trust that you are saying how you feel, or what you're telling me is genuinely how you feel.
Yeah.
Whereas I will kind of like hide a little bit and like mince my words or soften the blow because I don't want to deal with it then. But eventually I do come around.
You were hiding from me last week.
What was I hiding about?
Can we talk about this?
Yeah. No, that was not hiding. This is Esther's medical anxiety.
It is. I don't know. Did you have this postpartum, like extreme advanced medical anxiety, like health? No. Okay.
I didn't.
I saw this.
Seem balanced.
Or maybe I just didn't get it diagnosed. I kind of went into like a hole. And so maybe I just didn't get help for it.
Okay. I saw this really cryptic TikTok that was like this woman saying that she would never get a colonoscopy. So I text Khalyla, I'm like, why would someone say they wouldn't get a colonoscopy? And she gave like the most vague answer and like wouldn't really answer the question.
Well, for starters, I didn't think I was qualified to answer that question. I'm like, why is she asking me why people shouldn't get colonoscopies.
And then she just goes, I've had one because I had so much bleeding, LOL, so it's fine. But I'm like, but why is it not fine? Like, why is this woman saying this? And she just kept like only answering other questions, but not that question. So in my head, I'm like spiraling, like having a colonoscopy is like so bad that she won't even tell me. And then I called you.
I was having my sister's birthday dinner.
I'm sorry.
And I was just getting a barrage of like, why are you ghosting me? Why aren't you replying? What's the truth about colonoscopies? I'm like, oh my God, Esther. She finally calls me and you're like, why are you running away from this question? I was like, I'm the problem. You're spiraling about a colonoscopy.
Yeah, why did you care so much? That's like one person's
I literally
random...
didn't care that much, but it was just, you know, when someone like they keep not answering a question and then in your head you're like, this is really bad. Like, this is big.
I just thought it was so silly.
Okay.
I
Now
was like,
I
no,
see
I'm
that.
not going to feed into her already existing anxiety about the colonoscopy she had 8 years ago.
I know.
You had one colonoscopy 8 years ago?
Like 6 years ago.
And
it just happened to be like farts, right?
Why do you have to?
No, let's talk about your bowels. Okay, and so you're worried that maybe...
She thinks that because she got a colonoscopy.
No, I don't think that. I'm fine. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I don't want to talk about it either, honestly.
I have to get to the bottom of this.
I also have a question, a big question, which is how often are we calling Khalyla and texting her about medical problems? Like,
literally, I feel like almost never lately, but recently after postpartum, a little more.
Yeah, and I don't mind the ones that I actually like.
Are you a doctor?
No, I went to nursing school. Like, this is why I'm telling her, I'm like, I don't think I'm the person for it.
But the thing is then I ask you things and then you're right before my doctor.
I think I just answer before your doctor.
Yeah, but
you know, you have my sister's number now. She's way more qualified than me.
Is she really?
Bother somebody else. She's like pawning you up.
What if I give you the wrong answer?
I trust you more than you trust yourself. So I'm not concerned about that.
So wait a second. So the colonoscopy thing, what were you worried about?
I don't know. I literally wasn't even that worried. It's just when someone ignores a question, you start to like, you know, you start to build stories.
Don't
in your
say
head.
You. Say I. Yeah, you do that. Because I am not relating to the story. I'm like, she's probably busy.
No, but she was responding to other things.
Because she was distracted.
Because I was like, I think this is a nothing thing.
I now see that.
Right.
But it built
I didn't realize it was heavy on your mind.
It was a scary story in my head just because of you ignoring it. Because I was like, oh, it's so bad that she doesn't want me to know how bad it is. And then I think I said, like, don't make me Google it. Like that, you know, that will be harder on me.
But then the next day you were like, so why do you think there's a rise in colon cancers in young people? I was like, oh God, here we go. It hasn't
My
ended.
algorithm has taken this weird colon turn and I need to go back
this
into
colon-shaped turn.
Yeah, I need to go back into mommy stuff.
Yeah, I did answer that because I was like, she's not going to stop if I don't answer. So I was like, I don't know, lifestyle, maybe early diagnosis.
No, but I handle like not being responded to. I handle that very well. Like that's not an issue. Like we go days in between and stuff, but it was just that one thing. I swear I'm not that annoying. It's really making me seem worse than I am. And that, I guess I'm okay with that. Where were we?
I think we were talking about our parents' trauma and how it affected, how it shaped us positively and negatively.
So positive for me, maybe.
I don't even want to tell you about how my dad died. He had colon cancer.
Oh my God.
No, I feel like that's the Venn diagram of all the things we've been talking about.
I feel like since you're so connected to my father.
I know.
Like maybe you knew something. But anyways, he was 80. It was time. It was time.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways.
Timed out. Okay, dude, you got to time out.
So it's an actual dream come true that Skims is a sponsor of the show because I feel like you and I fell in love over Skims. And today we're talking about one of my all-time favorites, the Soft Lounge collection.
I have been living in them.
I'm postpartum, okay? And so I know a thing or two about being comfortable, but also wanting to feel like yourself again, wanting to feel a little sexy. That's where the Soft Lounge collection comes in because, first of all, it's the softest, my most favorite material. I recently ordered this little onesie, and it's like a spaghetti strap and then shorts. I walk around the house. I'm doing my laundry. I'm taking care of my baby. I look sexy. scoop onesie. It's so comfortable that I have to get louder. It's comfortable. I look sexy. Dave goes,
Shop the Skims Soft Lounge collection at skims.com, now available in sizes XXS to 4X. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Skims Soft Lounge. How do you deal with both of you having kids? Like, what is the roadmap, or what are the rules, or are there any hard and fast rules around iPads, iPhones, screen time, or are you just gonna like wing it? Have you winged it?
Yeah, this is such a hard thing to navigate. Like, I, of course, feel it's like all about what you said, like how you model yourself. And I'm like, when I reach for my phone, I'm like, oh, this is an addiction I have. And if I don't stop it soon, how am I to expect her to not want to be a part of it and do it? And I'm just, that's always on my mind of like, what's my game plan? Like, what's the end?
Have you and Dave talked about where you want to take it with a phone? And
we just say like, we have to fix this. We don't know what we're going to do. Obviously, like, you know, she's so young. She does not look at screens. And I've read like not till age 2. Then people say they do it sooner. People say they do it later. Like, I just have no idea. I'm like one day at a time kind of. But I think the bigger issue is, what am I going to do? How am I going to, you know, at a certain point, she's going to be aware that it's there, and I can't bring it out in front of her, I guess.
How are you going to address your addiction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do really believe in the modeling thing, like, because I've never had alcohol before. And when I really think about why that is, I think it's because my parents never had alcohol. Like, we never had it in the house. And I know that works. Modeling. Am I going to start reading in front of my kid? I don't know, but I should. I'll read to her.
You could read with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Julia Fox's book.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, my kid's not going to someone's house if it's against the parental rules. Like, and if they're not a safe person. Did you guys watch that Nickelodeon documentary? I was like, oh, right. All of these parents trusted these adults.
It's so hard to get away from, though, because as someone who has been sexually abused as a child, it came from my own household. And it came from someone who, even when I later on, like, my whole family knew about it, they were kind of just like, like no full acknowledgement. So it's like, I feel like nowhere is safe. And it really is like, you can put all the protective barriers and do your best, but ultimately they will be a part of social groups. I mean, I had a friend who was unfortunately like assaulted in middle school by his baseball coach. And it turns out that the baseball coach assaulted a bunch of other kids. So it's like, you just kind of hope to God that your child knows that you're a safe person to tell these things to.
And they feel confident enough to say, this is my body. Hell no. And that starts really, really young. I teach my son all the time to say, don't touch my body, or no touching, or I don't like that. And it's good for him. I'm like, great, practice that. I've also been sexually assaulted.
I'm sorry.
And it's like such an unfortunate, massive reality. And I think a big part of that, I mean, talk about like how our childhood shapes us. A big part of that was like having to kiss every person that my mom was friends with when I walked into a room.
Go hug Uncle.
You have to hug Uncle. And it doesn't matter that his lips are wet and it grosses you out.
Kisses right in the eyeball.
Kisses you right in the ear. Yeah, you're just like, that's fine. I can't hear, but it's fine to it's the moral lesson of, I'm going to sacrifice my comfort for the comfort of others. That for me was the main ingredient in my assault.
Yeah.
Is that I was like, it's fine for me to be in pain for your comfort. It's not just it's fine, it's safer. And then to shut up about it.
Yeah.
Because when I did voice the smaller things of like, I don't like it when he hugs me.
Right.
I don't like that thing he said.
Yeah.
You're told to shut up. So
yeah.
so I'm raising a fucking noisy kid.
I like that though. They considered me a noisy kid, a little too noisy, and I was like, I wasn't noisy enough. I should have sounded the alarm much louder. But I think because in my family, sexual assault was such a common thing that happened to a lot of my aunties and my mom.
Do they talk about that? When did you guys talk about that?
They never talked about it. I mean, now we're able to kind of like, it seems like all the girls in my family were. But I think that because it was such commonplace for them, unfortunately, that when I finally did say something, they were like, you're not special. Like,
oh my God.
We've all been there. Who hasn't? Kind of. That was like the reaction. And I took that as okay, I'll never mention it again.
You're like, first of all, I am special. I know I am. Okay.
You're like, you think that was bad?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it sounded like when I went to the police about my assault.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh yeah, that happened to you at a party? That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Special. I will say I had a really beautiful conversation with my mom on this topic where, you know, my mom loves my son and I am not afraid of her being with him in any way. She is like actually like a beautiful release valve for me because I really can leave him there with her and they're both so fulfilled by each other's company. I'm so grateful for that relationship. But she like loves him to the point of smothering. Well, she would like wants to kiss his feet and kiss his butt and he's just like, you know, and that's literally the sound he makes. I can like hear them on the phone. And so I've like had to have this conversation with her about how important it is that he can say no and how good it is that he says no. And I brought up because children are assaulted and I want him to know that it is safe for him to stand up for himself and that he is the boss of his body. That's another thing I teach him to say. I'm the boss of my body. And when I said to my mom, I'm doing this to prevent him from ever being sexually assaulted, I saw something click in her that said to me, like, I've been there and we've never had a conversation about it, but it made me feel like she has experienced it. It is so common. I don't know who, this is why it would be great to take mushrooms with my mom and go for a walk. But yeah, it made me feel like she knows.
She got it. The point was understood. Yeah.
And I've never talked to my mom about my sexual assault.
Yeah. It is a hard thing to talk to your mother about. I mean, even for me now, the most we'll say is like, yeah, that thing happened. But we had another instance in America when we first came to America where we had a family doctor. I was 15. We had a family doctor who was doing stuff to us that we didn't know was not protocol. And so when I would go in for like a sniffle or a shoulder injury, he would basically do like a full pelvic exam on me. My sister came with back pain and he basically like stuck fingers in places that didn't need whatever. But my mom, he did something similarly too. So we all have the same like American abuser. So that gave us a little bit of solidarity, even though like my childhood stuff wasn't necessarily addressed. She finally, like over the pandemic, she was like, wait, can I tell you what he did to me? I was like, yes, tell us.
Whoa.
And so that was, even though it was such a disgusting thing to have gone through, it did, there was something mended there when she told us, okay, like this is what happened with this particular doctor. And yeah, he lost his license. All of the good stuff, all of the things that needed to happen happened to him. Thankfully, the law took care of him, but it was nice. It was not nice, but I'm glad that she was like, okay, like,
yeah, the truth came out.
We can talk about something like this terrible together. But
I also heard that it's from my brother. I got in trouble because I didn't call my niece's vagina. I called it like a tweeter or something. Like it's better to call it by the anatomical, but I don't think I said that
Yeah,
right,
the
thing, because then kids
anatomical.
know
Anatomical.
like vagina instead of penis instead of like weird like tweeter and
Yeah.
thingy. And I think that helps as well. They're saying with that the same problem. And I'm wondering how you guys feel about that.
Gosh,
Yeah, I'm doing that.
all the names, the fun names I have called. Like yesterday, my boyfriend was like, what did you call it? I was like, my non-bread. It was like, he's like, why are you calling it your non? It's like, it's non-bread. I've called it everything under the sun. I do think that's probably correct. But I mean, there is a joy in, you know, coming up with 50 names for.
I'm just thinking when I used to help my sister babysit and the little girls would say ouchie tootie and that meant their vagina hurt. I'm like, now I'm like, wait, why did it hurt?
Why?
But
Probably because they had a urinary tract infection.
yeah.
Oh no.
But
You know you can't do bubble baths, right? For little girls.
no, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
You don't want to put soap in like a perfectly working vagina that knows how to clean itself.
Oh, that's right. Well,
I wish mine still knew how to clean itself.
me too. It seems like mine has completely forgotten how to clean it. Wait, I think our text messages the last 2 weeks have mostly been about our vagina's not cleaning itself.
Yeah. The
Sorry,
pH.
TMI.
pH
Sorry,
is
the pH is not pHing this summer. This hot California summer.
Have you guys tried a Candida cleanse?
no.
No.
Wait,
Let
is
me
that-
introduce you.
Join the chat.
yeah. Log on. Wait, is that like
if you have common symptoms, may include yeast infections, sinus infections, skin rash, all sorts of things that are like an overgrowth.
Mm-hmm.
Is often that there is an overgrowth of this bad bacteria, Candida, that feeds off sugar. And so the way to get rid of it, I already lost Esther, is to starve it off by not giving it sugar.
Don't feed your yeast.
Oh my
Don't
God.
feed your yeast, babe.
What if it's BV though?
Oh, I don't know enough.
Will this work?
The struggle for me would be the fruit, because I'm such like all of the fruit kiosks, the fruit man in Los Angeles, they all know me and they all give me extra because I'm
You can do coconuts.
love
You
coconut.
can do berries.
I do the berries, but no, in
The
LA you have to
mango
have
and
the
the
mango with the
watermelon.
tahine and the
Mhm.
chamoy and the watermelon. Yeah.
You can have jicama, I think.
Oh, jicama's good.
Yeah.
It's not mango though.
No, but jicama with a lot of lime can hit the spot.
Okay.
And
How
you can have
was
monk fruit sweetener.
how was giving birth for you?
Oh boy.
We don't have to go there, but I'm just
No, it
mom
was
curious.
It's weird that you forget and your body is like, I would do this again.
I know.
Is that a real thing, the amnesia?
Yeah,
Yes.
a part of it, because you're the feel good hormones are so strong afterwards that you're just like, that was amazing. And I do think parts of it were really amazing and parts of it were absolute hell. I was in labor for 5.5 days.
What? Oh my God.
My contraction started on a Sunday night, which were like really light, and then I gave birth the following Saturday morning. I had back labor and was planning a home birth. Back labor is when your kid is, they call it sunny side up, which means their face is facing forward. What
Right.
you want is their back to be on your belly so that the hard bones of their spine are on your soft, cushy belly, and then there's room. He was the other way around. So his spine was on my spine. So it felt like the baby was coming out of my butt. Like all of the pain was in my back. I couldn't sit down. When I got to the hospital, finally, after like trying to labor at home for days, and I was like, I called my midwife and I was like, I haven't slept in 2 days. The pain is unmanageable. I've tried drinking wine and taking Benadryl and doing all these other things. And she's like, I don't think anybody should have to go through back labor unmedicated. And I was like, thank God. I don't know why I needed her permission, because I'm a people pleaser. And I was like, thank God. We got in the car. We went to this wonderful hospital and they put me in a wheelchair as soon as I got there. And I was like, hey guys, I can't sit down. There's a baby in my butt. I can't. And I loved also, it's so funny because like comedians are always going to try to be comedians, but I gave my best set while pushing. I was just like, I had this, the doctor and her daughter, actually, they were both doctors, which I thought was so beautiful. So it was like the two of them and my midwife, who ended up not really having to do anything because I transferred to a hospital. My doula, Carson Meyer, who's an angel. My husband. I had like this amazing team around me, and I was just doing bits the entire time I was pushing. It was amazing. But yeah, I was in there for like another day and a half. They gave me fentanyl when I got there, which was amazing.
So much
and let
fun.
me sleep.
I had so much fun with that.
Yeah.
Worth the 9 months of sobriety.
Yes.
Just so good.
Well, honestly, I just needed to rest. And I had, I watched The Business of Being Born. Do you guys know this movie?
No, I need to watch that.
You
though.
don't need to. You're good. You just had your
Okay.
baby. But it's a lot about like, and this is true, and I've seen this, is that doctors are on a schedule. C-sections are really fast. They need to clear those rooms and get someone else in there. So you can get rushed into a C-section because you've been given the drug that will help you open and the drug that will numb you up in a certain order that doesn't align with how the baby wants to come out. And thus you are taken to get a C-section.
Right.
And so I was really trying to not do the drugs or do them in a way that was very slow so that I could actually have a vaginal delivery. And not because getting a C-section is bad, I was just scared of it. And so I was in labor for so fucking long until like, Saturday morning, I'm like, this is illegal. Like, oh, and because of back labor, the epidural doesn't really work.
What?
Oh, really?
It worked for like 2 hours, but I was in labor for, days. So like,
Oh my God.
it was enough for me to like take a nap. And I had to get 2 epidurals. Like one guy came, did the epidural. I took a nap, woke up, and I'm like, it's back. I feel everything. Feel my back breaking.
Oh my God.
And I didn't even have a normal contraction, I don't think. Like, I don't, people are like, it feels like cramps. I never had anything like that. It was always all in my back. And and then when I was able to push, I pushed for like 2 hours, and that was the best part because it felt like progress.
Mm-hmm.
So much of contractions is like, it's like you're standing in the water and the wave just goes over you and you just have to like breathe through it. And like, okay, it's coming. And and it's gone. Okay. And you just have to stay cool. But when it's time to push, you can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels progressive. And
It is
feels like you're
satisfying.
working on something.
Yeah.
Yes, something's happening. So that was a real gift to me. And also my midwife had my husband lay behind me in the bed, which is like a little bit Handmaid's Tale. But was also so beautiful because I got to be spooned while he like spooned me and held my legs like this way. You know what I mean?
He was on the bed.
He was on the bed and I was laying on him.
Oh, I love
So
that.
he got to like,
That's
Oh
an
my
option?
God.
yeah, he got to like talk in I had a speaker, and one year I like had 2 playlists. I had my calm playlist. I highly recommend 2 playlists. One is like your calm down playlist, and one is your pump up jams. One is like your breathe bitch, and the other is your work bitch. And so we brought our own speaker to the hospital. He like held it with one hand right by my head, and with the other one was like talking to me and telling me I could do it, and kissing my head and kissing my neck and holding, I don't know how he had so many hands. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Oh, also there was a mirror right in front of me. So I could see him crowning.
What?
Which
You
was
could
a
both
fucking
see
trip.
then.
Yeah, we could
You
both
saw
see.
that?
That's a fucking trip.
Oh my God. I never would want to see that, but I'm like, obviously I have a curiosity. Like, that's so crazy.
Would
And
you
also,
be down for that? Dave behind you with a mirror in front.
I really like how it went.
There you go.
it's
You probably already talked about it on this podcast.
I did, but it's like, I was thinking that does sound nice, but weirdly, when it came time to pushing, I sort of wanted it to just be about me and Nurse Susie and like not so much
Right, Nurse
Dave.
Susie.
Like that
Okay.
was sort of my moment to be intimate with this nurse who
This
is
angel.
Yes.
Right? Aren't they angels?
They're, of course, this is why I'm so into her, because she went to nursing school. So she is my angel.
That's so sweet.
Well, I'm so sad that we're out of time, but this has been so fun and like therapeutic to have this little mommy chat, which I always need. Because I don't know, when you're like home mothering, sometimes it feels like you're the only mom in the world and like you're doing this all on your own. So whenever I connect with other moms, it feels really like, I don't know, it just fills me up. So thank you for being here and chatting about this stuff.
Anytime you can call me.
Thank you.
But not about colonics.
Colonoscopies.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Milana.
and everyone
you.
to check out your podcast.
Yeah, your mom is a
Your
podcast.
mom is a podcast. Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Milana.
guys.
We'll see you guys
We'll see you guys
week.
next week with a brand new episode.